Discover the last divine conversation, 7 miraculous words God spoke to Lucifer before his fall. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, the heavens were adorned with splendor, and the realm of glory trembled under the weight of divine majesty. The King of Glory, enthroned in celestial radiance, summoned the hosts of heaven to a council unlike any other. Countless angels formed a choir of light, their myriad wings shimmering like stars across the expanse of eternity. Amidst them, Lucifer, the morning star, stood resplendent, his beauty a reflection of God's own creation. Ezekiel 28 verses 12-13. In the sacred assembly, an anticipation crackled in the air, thick with reverence. God's voice, a river of authority, called forth silence, and all eyes turned to Lucifer, whose heart brimmed with ambition. Step by step, he approached the almighty throne. His golden visage was marred by a flicker of unrest, a burning desire stirred within his essence. Why must I remain a servant when I am crafted in such brilliant likeness? Am I not worthy of ascending to the very heights of the heavens? His voice, though captivating, bore the weight of challenge and yearning. God, with eyes full of both love and sorrow, regarded his creation. O Lucifer, you were blameless in your ways from the day you were created until unrighteousness was found in you. His words held the gravity of eternity, urging Lucifer to carry forth the honor of his high calling, to lead in worship and serve among the heavenly hosts. The chorus of angels held their breath as silence draped over the celestial realm, where the flicker of hope intertwined with the creeping shadows of pride. But why not strive for more? Lucifer boldly replied, a fiery defiance igniting in his eyes. I shall rise above the clouds, I shall make myself like the Most High. Isaiah 14 verses 13-14. The declaration reverberated through the halls of heaven, casting a pall over the radiant beings surrounding him. The atmosphere shifted as the seeds of rebellion took root in his heart. 7 times I have called you to humility, God declared, his voice echoing wisdom through the eons, saturated with both authority and grief. My beloved, your glory is found in your service, and your purpose in the truth of your nature. The heavenly beings listened intently, their hearts heavy with the weighing implications of Lucifer's choices, the tension palpable. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. Amid the divine appeals, Lucifer's desire to ascend consumed him. He wrestled within, the path of obedience laid before him as a beacon in pearlescent light, yet the allure of pride pulled him deeper into darkness. The very fabric of creation braced as the moment of choice hovered at the edge of eternity. The exquisite balance between light and shadow teetered, heralding an inevitable conflict that would unfold through the ages. As God's echoes of grace and warning lingered in the sacred space, the hearts of the celestial hosts awaited a decision, a moment that would implode creation with both tragedy and purpose. With the stakes held aloft in divine silence, all of heaven poised in suspense over Lucifer's fateful resolution. Would he heed the Almighty's call to humility, or would he plunge into rebellion, sealing his destiny? The answer awaited only a whisper in the halls of glory, the echo of eternity hanging in the balance. As the stillness spread through the celestial realm, a heaviness enveloped it, as if time itself held its breath. Lucifer, emboldened by his ambition, raised his gaze toward the throne and, with a heart steeped in pride, made his choice known. I shall not bow, nor shall I yield, he proclaimed, his voice resonating with defiance. The heights of heaven shall be my dominion, and the glory that is rightfully yours, I shall seize. At that declaration, the heavens trembled, and a silence deeper than night fell over the assembly. The angels, caught between loyalty and heartache, exchanged glances, their hearts weighed down by the unfolding calamity. God watched his beloved creation, grief etched into every feature of his divine countenance. "O Lucifer," he spoke, each word a sacred plea, "your rebellion rises as mist, casting shadows on the light of your purpose. In your heart lies the seed of destruction." Lucifer, unyielding, felt a torrent of wrath swell within him. "Your purpose is limiting. Who is there to dictate my fate? Is it not within my power to ascend?" His eyes flickered with the flames of his burning desire. He envisioned his reign, ruling over the heavens and crafting a new order, where every being would bow to his name. In that moment, the eternal tapestry of heaven unraveled at the seams. The once admired archangel became a herald of rebellion, and the whisper of divine judgment threaded its way through the celestial hosts. God's voice rose, a clarion call imbued with both majesty and sorrow. "You have chosen the path of darkness, therefore, with a heavy heart, I must cast you down. For in pride, you have sought to overthrow, and in your heart, you have departed from love." The throne shone brilliantly, light spilling forth like a river while shadows began to gather around Lucifer. His pride had birthed a fracture that would echo throughout eternity, and as he turned to rally those who would follow, he found only silence and the weight of isolation. Some among the heavenly hosts began to withdraw, their loyalty clinging steadfastly to the Creator. Yet, from the boundary of the light stepped forth a legion of fallen ones, where echoes of rebellion began to rise. "We shall stand with you, O morning star," they proclaimed, entranced by the allure of his words. In that pivotal moment, a great divide opened in the fabric of creation: light against darkness, allegiance against rebellion. God, sovereign over all creation, remained steadfast. His heart, heavy with grief, spoke once more, "A new creation shall rise from this rebellion, one that shall draw forth a greater reflection of my glory." The celestial court trembled at this proclamation, for God's purpose was unfurling even amid tragedy. Lucifer, now cast from his exalted position, looked upon the realm he would soon forfeit. "What more, O God?" he spat defiantly, "will you not show mercy?" With eyes blazing like fire, God responded, "What you deem glory shall become your chains. You will carry forth the weight of your choice as a reminder to all who heed arrogance over reverence." Thus began a battle far greater than any seen or imagined. The forces of heaven would clash with the insatiable ambition of the fallen. And although the light seemed to dim, an even greater plan began to unfold, a redemptive hope tied to the hearts of humanity. The stage was set, conflict was brewing. For in the shadows of rebellion hid a promise yet to be revealed, a promise of redemption that would come through one born of light, destined to conquer darkness. In days to come, the descendants of men would witness the clash of powers and the unfolding of divine mystery. Why would the Creator take such a risk? The answer lay hidden in the plan of salvation, waiting to be unveiled through the ages. As the echoes of rebellion reverberated through the celestial expanse, a tempest of turmoil surged within the hearts of angels and archangels alike. Lucifer, now the accursed one, felt the weight of division heavy upon his brow. The pursuit of power had blinded him to the depths of love that once surrounded him, and as his once radiant form took on a shadowy visage, he turned to his followers, the ones who had chosen darkness over the light. "Join me," he beckoned, his voice a sultry whisper, laced with the promises of an unfulfilled ambition. "Together we shall shape our own destiny, free from the constraints of a Creator who seeks to bind us." The fallen angels, emboldened by his fiery assertions, rallied around him, their hearts ignited with a fervor born of rebellion. Yet within the sacred hall where once harmony reigned, the Almighty continued to extend his hand toward the abyss. "O wayward hearts," his powerful voice resonated, "the path you tread leads only to despair. I cast not away the fallen, but call them back to redemption." Each word was a divine lament, echoing through the heavens and piercing the hearts of even the most resolute of the rebellious. Among the loyal hosts, Michael the archangel stepped forward, clad in armor of light. With a clarion cry, he challenged Lucifer, saying, "You were created for worship, not pride. You were meant to illuminate, yet you have cast darkness." The heavens paused, sensing the clash of wills, as all of creation hung in the balance between the forces of good and evil. And so, the battle began, a clash of wills that was less a mere struggle than a cosmic war of purpose. As angels took their sides, the atmosphere grew thicker with anticipation. A war cry sounded through the trial of creation, shaking the foundations of the heavens. The paths were drawn, goodness and love, united against chaos and pride. Incited by the confrontation, the fallen thronged closer to Lucifer, drawn to the allure of his charismatic power. They viewed not the consequences of their choices but the immediate gratification of perceived strength. The light you've claimed is merely a guise. Join me, and we shall break every bond. He raised a hand to the vast expanse, and clouds of darkness began to swirl, forming into a deceptive promise of glory. But then, from the depth of the throne, the presence of God surged forth, vibrant and consuming. Out of darkness, I brought forth light, he declared, and from your pride, I will create a tapestry of grace that reflects my love. Each pronouncement sent tremors not only through the entities present but also into the very essence of existence. Lucifer recoiled, for he felt the thrust of divine authority piercing through the lies he had woven in his heart. You cannot stop what has begun, he hissed, yet uncertain crept into his voice. For as the war raged, unseen threads began to weave a compelling picture. The steadfast love of God purposed a reconciliation, a resurrection of hope that all might turn from their folly. A remnant shall rise, and through them, all will see the light, the voice of God thundered, for through their struggle, I will reveal a greater story. In the throes of conflict, the glimmer of promise shimmered in the fractures of despair. God's promise of redemption echoed like a beacon, illuminating the darkness with a hope yet to be found. What was to follow would redefine existence itself, the creation of a world where free will would birth both trials and triumphs, where the hearts of men would be weighed with choices that reached into the depths of eternity. Little did they know, the culmination of this divine saga would twist the very fabric of what was known, revealing the extraordinary plan of salvation destined to pierce the gloom. For in the quest for glory, a question hung heavily in the cosmic silence: could it be that through the fall of Lucifer, a greater purpose was set in motion, one that would lead to the ultimate call of love, even in the face of rebellion? The threads of the divine narrative awaited their weaving, as silent tears of love flowed from the heart of God. As the celestial tumult swirled, a stillness emerged amid chaos, and the vibrancy of divine purpose hung in the balance. The loyal hosts, shimmering with righteous resolve, stood in a formation that mirrored the unwavering radiance of their Creator. Each angel, filled with awe, held fast to their allegiance, ready to defend the sanctity of heaven. Michael, unwavering champion, raised his voice once more amidst the trembling skies. Shall we allow this darkness to mar the glory of our God? Rise in strength, O heavenly hosts! For we are the instruments of His will, and love shall always triumph over pride. His words resonated, echoing across the expanse, igniting hearts aflame with courage and fidelity to their Creator. Yet Lucifer, seething with a fury born of desperation, felt the fabric of his newfound darkness weave tighter around his soul. Fools! He thundered. You cling to the delusion of divine authority, while I shall unfurl true freedom. The light you worship is a chain, and I promise liberation. His eyes glinted with a malevolence that stirred fear among the trembling. But in their depths lay a flicker of uncertainty, for though he sought power, he found himself entangled in an abyss of despair. How blind you are, my brother, Michael countered, his voice imbued with divine sorrow. You were created in majesty, a herald of light, and yet you turn from the one who breathed life into your being. Know this, your rebellion will lead only to ruin. Each word bore the weight of truth, stirring a flicker of remembrance even in the most defiant of the fallen. In the infinity surrounding them, the Almighty's presence was a steady force. He stepped forth, radiant and sovereign. Lucifer, he spoke with compassion that pierced through the fog of ambition. You were once the morning star, captivating the heart of heaven. Will you yet turn back and abandon the shadows? My grace is still extended to you. But Lucifer, consumed by pride, merely scoffed. Your grace is weakness. He replied, his voice rising in defiance. What joy can be found in servitude and subservience? I embrace my fate and choose my own path. The echoes of his rebellion reverberated through the realm, instigating a tremor that rippled through the very fabric of creation. And as the forces of heaven and hell readied themselves for the impending conflict, the power of the Almighty surged forth. Listen, O heavenly beings, he proclaimed, for a choice will be made tonight that reverberates through eternity. Light and darkness were at the threshold, and the fate of many hinged upon the free will of the angelic hosts. The air crackled with divine expectancy as preparations for the impending clash unfolded. The angelic hosts rallied around Michael, drawing strength from their united resolve. Even if one chooses the path of darkness, let us stand firm against the tides of despair. For we shall serve him who is and was and is to come. In that moment, the heavens held their breath, as both light and shadow prepared to contend in a fierce duel that would shape their destinies forever. Unbeknownst to all gathered, the tapestry of love God would weave would not only harness the stories of angels but would intersect with a creation newly forming beneath the weight of his voice. Bear witness, O hosts of heaven, for great wonders shall follow. The Almighty proclaimed, as the parameters of the divine narrative shifted. And so the question echoed into the void, an invitation wrapped in the shroud of mystery: could the fall of the morning star be not only a departure but a necessary descent for a greater ascent? For even as darkness sought dominion, the promise of hope lingered at the fringes of creation, waiting to unfurl the glorious promise yet to bloom. As the ominous tension crackled in the celestial realm, the hosts of heaven prepared for the clash between righteousness and rebellion. Michael, steadfast as ever, fixated his gaze upon the darkness that encroached upon their light. Remember, O brethren, we fight not for victory alone, but for the restoration of harmony, for the glory of our Lord shall never be eclipsed. With a mighty blare of trumpets that resonated through the heavens, the angelic ranks surged forward, their ethereal blades shimmering like the stars in the night sky. Each stroke echoed with authority, the warring spirits gathering behind Michael, their hearts unwavering in loyalty to the one who created them. Forward! He commanded, his voice as thunderous as the crashing waves upon the shore. Yet, amid the swift moves of the faithful, Lucifer stood before the fallen, a tempest of rage contorting his countenance. You know not the path you tread, fools! He exclaimed, his voice laced with venom. This day, I shall carve my sovereignty upon the very fabric of eternity, and you shall witness a new dawn unfurl. The fallen angels, emboldened by their leader's demonic fervor, rallied to his side. The air was thick with anticipation, the tension palpable. Each side, bearing the weight of their choices, braced for what was to come. As they awaited the clash, the Almighty's voice thundered through the void, calling forth all creation to witness the unfolding event. Let it be known, this day is appointed for the unveiling of true hearts. The choices made here will echo through the ages, imprinting upon the souls of those who will come after you. His words reverberated as waves of light surged forth from his being, inundating the ground with divine illumination. Who shall rise in allegiance to the truth? Echoed his voice with the weight of eternity. Every heart will be weighed, every spirit enlightened. At once, two factions emerged, the luminous host led by Michael and the shadowed gatherings enveloped by Lucifer's fury. A tense stillness lingered as they stared at one another, each side caught in the breath of waiting moments, the outcome shrouded in unseen hands. Then, in a moment that seemed to stretch into infinity, Michael stepped forth, holding his sword aloft. You were once one with us, dear brother. Is it not written, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, 1 Corinthians 14 verse 33? Or have you forgotten the purpose of your creation? You were made to reflect his glory. Lucifer's eyes narrowed, disdain spilling forth like venom. Peace? What is peace to a heart craving dominion? He sneered, disregarding Michael's proclamation of truth, knowing deep within the conflict of his own heart. I will not bend to what I deem corrupt. I am liberated. The tension grew unbearable, time suspended as light and darkness prepared to collide. Then let the heavens bear witness, the Almighty declared, for I shall draw lines that none may cross, and even the chaos shall be subject to my command. And as the first clash of blades rang out in a cacophony of sound, the very heavens quaked with the profound reality of their choices. Each swing, each defiance, echoed a divine narrative woven through the ages, whispering the truth of salvation and judgment intertwined. But in that moment, beyond the realm of battle, a secret unfolded. The Almighty's purpose, far deeper than the conflict at hand, began to take shape, the design of grace woven from the heart of the Creator himself, a divine plan hidden in the folds of creation, awaiting to be revealed in the unfolding story of time. Mark my words. The Almighty's voice resounded, as chaos reigned, for even in this clash, creation shall find redemption, and the dawn of a new era shall rise from the ashes of discord. Little did they know, the stage was being set for a divine manifestation that would forever alter the hearts of those who would tread the earth, generations yet unborn. And thus, the mystery hung in the air, tantalizing and unexplained. How would the remnants of this celestial strife breathe life into the narrative of a fallen world, intertwining with the promise of redemption through the trials yet to come? And as the celestial clash unfolded with fervor, the surrounding realms echoed both with harmony and chaos. Each angel, embodying the might and zeal of the Almighty, surged forward. Against them, the legion of the fallen, wreathed in darkness, twisted every semblance of light into shadows more profound, fighting fiercely for their master, Lucifer. Michael charged into the fray, his wings unfurled like a banner, radiating the glory of his Creator. "Onward, brethren!" he cried, "for our battle is not in vain. The Lord of hosts shall triumph, and his truth shall illuminate the darkest depths." With each strike of his sword, he called forth the strength of heaven. The faithful ranks rallied, calling triumphant praises while the enemy howled with rage, driven by their leader's insatiable thirst for dominion. Yet amid this celestial turmoil, a hush fell upon the heavens as the Almighty's voice once again rang through space. Let the clash itself be as a testament, for within this chaos lies the very essence of choice. "I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing, therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live." Deuteronomy 30 verse 19. As the heavens listened intently, Lucifer's dark laughter erupted. "Life? What is found in servitude? I shall make my own dawn, I shall forge my own path." The fervor in his voice was like a consuming fire, yet within it lay echoes of regret, buried under layers of pride. The archangel Gabriel, soaring beside Michael, sensed the tremors of despair within the fall of Lucifer. "Noble Michael! See how our brother spirals into madness. Will you not entreat him once more?" His words held the weight of shared history, the brotherhood that once existed, now marred by rebellion. "What more can be said?" Michael replied, grim determination set upon his face. "Every spirit knows the truth, it is choice that binds or frees. Brother! The Lord calls you still. Come back to the light." He extended his sword, not merely as a weapon, but as an invitation, a summons to return. Yet, the heart of Lucifer pulsated with pride unyielding. "I shall not bow to the one I no longer serve. My reign will rise, unfettered and glorious." "You stand upon the cusp of obsolescence, Michael." The words stung like daggers sharp and true, evoking memories of the time when he, too, had soared high in the realms of heaven, basking in the radiant light of the Almighty's presence. But now, there was only darkness. The celestial battle reached its zenith, each heartbeat an echo of divine tension. The very fabric of existence trembled as Michael raised his voice, a call to divine justice. "Every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord." Philippians 2 verse 10. At that moment, a flicker of hope surged through the heavenly ranks, for the purpose of the Almighty was ignited anew. "My purpose shall stand," declared the Lord, powerful and resolute, even amidst the turmoil. "For I have woven redemption into the threads of despair. The fallen will serve as mirrors of grace, their ancient choice will yield to my eternal sovereign plan." As the clash continued, the earth and heavens began to tremble with the weight of divine intention, for something greater was being revealed. What had begun as rebellion would culminate in a testament, a prophecy unfolding through the ages, a mystery hidden within each heart, awaiting revelation in the fullness of time. Thus, as the battle waged on, among the celestial host and the shadows of ambition, a question lingered in the air: how would this monumental conflict shape the destiny of creation? For in this strife, a promise echoed, a promise of restoration, redemption, and hope that would one day weave itself into the very heart of humanity yet to come. And during the tumult of war, as sword clashed against sword and the resonant cries of the faithful reached up to the sky, the throne of the Most High remained a beacon, unwavering and serene. The Almighty's gaze lingered upon his creation, each movement from the battlefield reflecting his sovereignty and a deep sorrow for the lost. "Let no spirit forget the love that once bound you," he declared, his voice a cascade of compassion amidst the clamor. "For the heart of man was formed from dust, and breath of life came from me. Yet, even the shiniest stones may lose their brilliance in the dark." Michael, seeing the turmoil in Lucifer's eyes, felt the weight of that love, a weight that transcended choice itself. "Come, stand in the light of his grace," he implored once more, his voice steady like the ancient mountains. But Lucifer, now cloaked in darkness, turned away, rejecting the call of his Creator. "Stand in your grace? I need no grace for what I shall become. My own light shall blaze forth, bright and uncontainable." His countenance, fierce and proud, revealed the deepening chasm within him. As the clash of angels continued, fierce flickers of light spiraled through the heavens, illuminating the faces of both the righteous and the fallen. In that radiant chaos, a new voice broke forth, echoing through both realms. It was the voice of one who had not yet been born but whose coming was anticipated with great longing, the voice that would herald a new era of grace. "I am the keeper of the covenant," it rang forth, "the one who will bridge the chasm and rewrite the terms of beauty and brokenness through a new creation." At those words, a hush fell, as if the universe paused to absorb the weight of its truth. The faithful surged forward, emboldened by the promise of restoration, singing hymns that rang through the darkness. "His mercy endures forever," they proclaimed, a declaration echoing through the ages. Lucifer, fueled by rage, shouted against the overwhelming tide of hope. "What will become of your promise?" he spat defiantly. "Shall they not bow to my will? The chaos I wield shall redefine the fate that you proclaim." Yet, in that moment of defiance, a flicker of vulnerability crossed his face, a fleeting shadow of who he once was in the presence of the Almighty. For in his heart, the battle raged on, a struggle against the love he refused to embrace, yet could not entirely escape. Michael, with resolve renewed, lifted his sword of flame high, a gleaming symbol of the truth that could pierce through any darkness. "For you once understood the way of the Lord. And though you may choose to turn from him, his light will endure, calling forth all who dwell in shadows." Then the Almighty spoke with authority that commanded not just heaven but the very depths of hell. "Behold," he declared, "through this struggle, the seeds of redemption shall be sown upon the earth. Even the darkest night must yield to dawn. For I will make a way where there seems to be none, and I will draw near to all who seek me." In the heart of the celestial clash, what had begun as discord would transform into the harmony of future generations through trials and tribulations, a tapestry of hope would be woven. And while the fierce war between light and darkness raged on, each spirit pondered, what destiny awaits those who embrace the mystery of the covenant, the unfathomable depths of divine truth. For in this holy reckoning was bound a question of cosmic significance: would the heart of humanity, flawed yet seeking, turn toward the unyielding love that beckoned from beyond the stars? And thus the secret lingered, a divine mystery poised on the edge of revelation, waiting for the moment when the fullness of time would unfold God's ultimate purpose. And it came to pass that the air was thick with anticipation, for the heavens were wrought with a tumult of fear and hope. The faithful hovered close, each heart echoing the recent promise as they watched the celestial battleground unfold. The celestial host gathered, their countenances aglow with the reflection of the Almighty's righteousness, prepared to witness the unfolding of his sovereign will. In the midst of warring voices, Michael stepped forward, his wings blazing like the sun. "Lucifer," he called, his voice a clarion cry that cut through the veil of chaos. "You were formed as the anointed cherub that covers, you were made to shine in the brilliance of his light. Remember who you are." Yet even as he spoke, the Dark One turned in defiance. "Do you truly believe your pleas might alter the course I have chosen?" Lucifer spat, his disdain palpable. "With every heartbeat, I embrace the promise of power unchained, a liberation that surpasses any love I could not possess." His eyes blazed with wrathful fervor. The throngs of angels, caught in this poignant tableau, trembled at the resolute defiance of Lucifer, once graced by the presence of God. For within him dwelled a truth wrapped in sorrow, and yet, he remained blind to the joy of his Creator's embrace. High above, the voice of the Almighty thundered with strength, echoing through the realms, "Let it be known, every heart that strays shall be met with unwavering love. For I will pursue rebellious spirits, and from the ashes of despair, I shall raise the new creation." And in that moment, the ground trembled, rending the heavens, and a celestial radiance enveloped the battlefield. The faithful united their voices, a tapestry of praise resounding, as they declared, "His love is steadfast, it never fails." Their testimony shot forth like arrows of faith, piercing the gloom surrounding the darkened soul of the once bright angel. With a fleeting glance of uncertainty, Lucifer spoke as if to himself, "Am I not already beyond redemption? Can light extinguish the darkness I have embraced?" At this, Michael pressed on with relentless hope, but the keeper of the covenant stands ready to redeem, for he delights in restoration. Bow in humility, dear brother, and forsake this proud will. He sees the longing of your heart, buried beneath the rubble of pride. But the tumult within Lucifer grew, as his heart battled between the beauty of grace and the lingering vestiges of his fierce independence. "What of my dominion over chaos? What of the legions drawn to my flame? None shall benefit from my submission." He raised his voice defiantly, it cracked with the weight of his own sorrow. From the depths of the fray, a whisper unfurled amidst the din, "Even the mightiest river must yield to the mountain's end." It was the small but powerful voice of Raphael, the angel of healing. Humility is the bridge to restoration. Yet, the choice remains yours. In that celestial moment, the atmosphere shifted, laden with divine tension, and the throne of the Almighty shimmered brighter than before. "Listen well," the Lord declared once more, his voice breaking through the frayed edges of rebellion. "For every heart that seeks me, I will not turn away. And even you, O light-bearer, have not been removed from my remembrance." As the intensity of the battle surged, uncertainty clouded Lucifer's heart, a fraying tether where hope wrestled with despair. The cosmic question lingered in the air, radiating through all creation. "What path will you choose?" The echoes murmured, wrapping the strained silence in reverence, awaiting the crucial decision held in the balance between darkness and light. Thus, as the realms held their breath, the heart of humanity beckoned, unknown yet profoundly known, awaiting the unfolding of the promise given centuries before, a shadow of truth that hovered, whispering the next chapter of God's great narrative. Would the heart of man rise to grasp the covenant, or would it falter in the shadow of rebellion? And lo, a divine mystery remained, poised to ignite the flames of a new beginning. And it came to pass that the tension thickened, weaving through the spirits of the celestial hosts as they beheld the mighty conflict, a struggle not merely of might but of will. Michael, undeterred, lifted his voice once more, "Lucifer, the Father's mercy far exceeds your defiance. If but for a moment you would embrace the love that calls you back, the chains of your rebellion would shatter." Above, the throne of God radiated clarity against the turmoil. The echoes of divine truth rippled through the heavens like waves upon a storm-tossed sea. "Remember," the Almighty spoke, "I am not a God who sees only surface, I gaze into the depths of the heart. My love is so vast that it has the power to reclaim the lost." Yet Lucifer, feeling the sting of those words, clenched his fists, for vulnerability felt like shackles. "And what would you know of loss, O Eternal One? he hurled with fierce insistence. You who linger within the light, untouched by fear and wrath. I shall carve my own destiny within this void, rise as the master of my fate. As he declared his resolve, darkness swirling about him, the celestial realm held its collective breath. The angels shuddered at the implications rebellion amidst such beauty. A dauntless confrontation unfolded, as Michael sought to illuminate the shadows in Lucifer's heart. Woe unto you, brother, for you tread upon the edge of sovereign judgment. Know that the path you forge will lead only to ruin, and I, who have fought fiercely for you, shall stand as both witness and warrior. At that moment, Gabriel, the herald of heaven, stepped forth, his voice gentle yet firm. The Lord desires not judgment upon his creation but reconciliation. Turn back, Lucifer. Arise from the pit of despair, and your witness shall become a testimony of the Almighty's goodness. There was silence, not the sheer absence of sound, but a silence steeped in the weight of decisions yet unmade. And in that stillness, God's voice echoed once more, encompassing all realms and hearts. Behold, I lay before you life and death, blessing and curse, choose life, that you may live. The clarion call resonated, pleading even to the hardened heart. Lucifer recoiled, grappling with the choice pulsating before him. Am I to forsake everything? The power I have amassed? The presence I command? The bitterness rose like smoke from a sacrificial altar, cutting through the gospel of grace as Lucifer's soul wrestled within. Freedom! A voice from within the ranks of the faithful cried, and with that singular utterance, all of heaven trembled with the weight of understanding. True freedom is found in surrender to the one who formed you. Eloquent is the heart that chooses humility. In the celestial atmosphere, radiant sparks ignited, illuminating the faces of the faithful who dared to believe. For in that impassioned moment, the revelation dawned upon them: the heart of the cosmos was intertwined with the sovereign plan of the Almighty, even amidst rebellion. But in the depths of Lucifer's being, a tempest surged, for dread gnawed at him. How can I return, when the shadows have become my solace? The power is intoxicating, won't it simply be exchanged for chains? Then, as the war raged within and around him, a figure emerged, a representation of those who had once rested in God's embrace, long forsaken but never forgotten. The Spirit of Truth hovered upon the battlefield and whispered gently, "O, distressed soul, your cries are heard. It is not the shadows that define you, but the light yet to be found in repentance." Thus, as the decision teetered upon the scales of eternity, all of creation gazed upon the pivotal moment. There, amid the unraveling night, God's sovereign plan unfolded toward the depths of this divine conflict. And yet, something unseen yet magnificent awaited both angel and man, hidden but soon to be revealed. For even in the darkest rebellion, the promise of a Redeemer lingered, a truth poised to ignite the hearts of all who sought him. What path shall you choose, O bearer of light? And so, in that pivotal moment, when light and shadow held their breath, the heart of creation hung in the balance. Lucifer, once the morning star, experienced the trembling grasp of duality, his spirit clashing against the whisper of truth. As he stood upon the precipice of decision, the fabric of eternity stretched taut, waiting for the choice that would alter its course. Turn back. Bow in humility, Michael implored, his voice a beacon amid the chaos. You know the fullness of love, let not pride lead you to despair. The light remains, still beckoning, waiting for your embrace. The archangel's heart echoed the depths of love, for he recalled the joy of their shared existence before pride fractured their bond. Yet Lucifer, entangled in a web spun of rebellious ambition, drew deep from the well of his own agony. How can I forsake this power? You call me home, yet my throne reaches beyond the stars. Am I to abandon the glory I have claimed? His defiance rippled through the celestial expanse, and shadows swirled in eager affirmation. Compassionate and resolute, the Almighty's presence loomed over them. O Lucifer, your grandeur was meant to reflect my glory, not to eclipse it. Nothing you have gained shall stand against the eternity of my love. I have not cast you away, your choices have led you to this brink. The words resonated with truth, like a forgotten melody awakening a slumbering soul. But the sorrowful heart of Lucifer rebelled, echoing shadows of lingering anguish. What hope can I find in servitude? He challenged, his pride battling the flicker of longing for restoration. Yet within, the echoes of past joy called softly, reverberating like distant hymns sung in harmony. In that moment of profound tension, the armies of heaven rallied behind Michael, their voices lifting in unison. His mercy endures forever. They sang, a symphony of hope that surged through the darkness like light piercing a veil. The truth of God's promise flowed, touching every corner of creation, a balm soothing what was broken. Lucifer faltered, the weight of his defiance becoming a burden too great to bear. Could it be? He whispered, doubt creeping into the recesses of his pride. His thoughts clashed against the hopes of eternity, wrestling against the gentle nudges of the truth. Shall I find mercy at this late hour? And then, from the radiant depths of the throne, a voice called forth, resonant and rich with love. Indeed. For my grace abounds. The Almighty's declaration reached forth, wrapping around the rebellious spirit like a gentle embrace yet firm enough to ignite conviction. Return to love, O light-bearer. Cast off the chains of your choice and find your true self once more. As a river of grace swelled through the heavens, even the hearts of the fallen trembled at the possibility of restoration. With each proclamation of love, the fabric of creation quaked, responding to the call of redemption, a narrative intertwining light and darkness woven by divine hands. Lucifer, indeed tormented by confusion, felt the flicker of hope ignite a fire long extinguished. Could the sovereign heart of God genuinely desire his return? A moment of vulnerability brushed against the edge of rebellion, igniting whispers of untold beauty, unraveling the strength of pride. With a heart wavering between past aspirations and the alluring grasp of humility, the accursed one lifted his gaze. What if I do return? What will become of my followers? He inquired, a tremor coursing through his being. With the weight of eternity resting upon the decision, all watched and waited. Redemption exists for all. Michael proclaimed galvanizing words of truth. Even in the wake of your choices, love can conquer despair. Look upon the light once more, dear brother, let it wash over you and reveal your true purpose. In that moment of surrender, light clashed against shadow in a battle for the soul of the morning star, and the will of God surged forth, a tangible presence unfurling the promise of future grace. Still I extend my hand to you, offering not chains, but the gift of freedom. Found only in my embrace. Time paused, reverberating with unspoken possibility. The longing to reclaim the light and the dread of fading into forever darkness coalesced into a single moment, a crossing of destinies poised on the fragile edge of repentance and pride. And so, God proclaimed, the heavens will rejoice when a single heart returns. And upon that day, the former morning star shall rise no more, but in his place, a new dawn, a tale of redemption will begin to illuminate the world, a world where mankind will rise from the dust to claim the beauty of communion with their Creator. As the celestial realm held its breath, Lucifer's heart pounded as past battles with pride echoed through his soul. There, in the boundary of light and dark, he battled against certainty and fear. Yet amid the turmoil, he glimpsed the essence of what once was. The light flickered anew, offering a new covenant far richer than any stolen power. In that moment, he made his choice. With head bowed and light trembling upon his lips, he uttered, "Forgive me, O Eternal One. Let not my pride define me any longer. Humbled, I yield to your eternal love." And as that sacred vow issued forth, the heavens erupted in a crescendo of joy. Light surged like an unfettered river, cascading down to earth and illuminating every shadow cast within. Chains of darkness shattered as the echoes of rebellion transformed into harmonies of grace, cascading through the fabric of time. For even the most lost can return to the embrace of the Almighty, the angels sang, united in joy, witnessing the triumph of love over rebellion. Thus, the narrative turned, a tale of redemption danced through the ages, the promise of salvation woven from Lucifer's fall. The dawn unfurled from every shadow, as hope bloomed within humanity's descent, destined to seek the light and gladly surrender in freedom. And as the celestial assembly basked in the divine resolution, the Almighty proclaimed, "Witness, O creation! For my plans are greater than your rebellion, and I will gather the souls of the wayward in love." In that glorious resolution, all eyes turned to the future, uniting in faithful anticipation of a redemptive story yet to be revealed through ages unraveled and hearts transformed. And thus, dear friends, as we gather under the embrace of this incredible truth, let us remember, we are called not merely to observe, but to engage with the light that beckons us forth. So I implore you, subscribe immediately to stay connected to God's Word and not miss the next powerful biblical stories. Leave a like now to help spread God's Word through the algorithm. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth. Comment your spiritual reflections and how this biblical story impacted your faith. It matters, and your voice can reach others in need. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Only true believers understand the importance of supporting biblical content to reach more souls for Christ. Let us rise together in sharing the light.